The day the fleet fell was the day humanity learned the true meaning of horror. Colonies burned across the Orion sector, cities reduced to ash and glass, and trillions of lives extinguished in the blink of an eye. The aggressors, an alien species known as the Zarvok, had no name for mercy. Entire worlds were purged in a methodical display of cruelty, their advanced weapons leaving no shelter, no hope, no survivors. Commander Elias Varek stood on the observation deck of the Resolute, humanity's last operational flagship in the system, staring at the charred remnants of New Terra. Smoke curled into the void, the cries of the few survivors faint over the comms. "We can't let this continue," Elias said, his voice low but resolute. "Not now. Not ever again." The council had convened in a state of emergency. They were beaten, cornered, and desperate. But desperation often breeds clarity. Humanity, once known as the weak underdogs of the galactic frontier, would rise. And this time, there would be no mercy. The beginning, humanity's resolve. For decades, humans had been underestimated. Alien civilizations mocked their fragile bodies, their reliance on ingenuity over brute strength, and their limited technology. Trade and diplomacy were often the tools of survival, not conquest. But the Zarvok massacre shattered the illusion. Elias, once a veteran of frontier skirmishes, addressed the assembled leaders of the surviving fleets. "Look around you," he said, gesturing toward the holographic projection of destroyed colonies. "We have lost everything that mattered. Our homes, our families, our innocence. The Zarvok believed we would beg, that we would surrender. But we are human. We endure. We adapt. And now we fight." Murmurs of agreement spread through the chamber. This was no longer about diplomacy, about restraint. Humanity would forge weapons, fleets, and strategies tailored for vengeance, but precision, intelligence, and coordination would be their signature. The Council approved Elias' plan, the Phoenix Protocol. Every surviving fleet would converge on the Zarvok homeworlds, not in blind retaliation, but as a surgical strike force. Using advanced cloaking, EMP disruptors, and cyber warfare, humans would cripple the Zarvok command structure, strike fear into their hearts, and demonstrate that their cruelty had a cost. The middle, rebuilding strength. Weeks turned into months. Humanity mobilized faster than anyone could have predicted. Scientists, engineers, and tacticians worked tirelessly, converting surviving ships into war machines and creating weapons that rivaled the technology of the galaxy's mightiest empires. Elias trained his crews personally, emphasizing adaptability, cunning, and the use of terrain in space combat. Humans were fast learners, turning previous weaknesses into strategic advantages. Where the Zarvok relied on raw firepower, humans relied on ingenuity and coordination. Where the Zarvok intimidated with size and numbers, humans leveraged unpredictability. By the time the first strike fleet entered the outer orbit of Zarvok Prime, humanity had not just survived, they had become a force feared across the sector. The first strike. The operation began under the cover of the Solemn Nebula, a dense cluster of cosmic gas that interfered with long-range sensors. Human fighters darted between pockets of gas, launching precision strikes on supply depots, communication arrays, and orbital defense stations. The Zarvok were caught off guard. For the first time in their expansionist history, a civilization fought back with intent, strategy, and ruthlessness. Elias led the strike personally aboard the Resolute. From the command deck, he watched Zarvok ships scramble, disoriented by EMP pulses that disabled their shields and weapon systems. Human fighters moved like shadows, striking key targets, then disappearing before counterattacks could be coordinated. In every battle, humanity's message was clear: No mercy would be given to those who slaughtered innocents. The turning point, confronting the enemy. Despite the initial victories, the Zarvok were not easily defeated. Their flagship, Oblivion's Fong, loomed like a black star, its weapons capable of vaporizing entire planetary surfaces. Elias knew a direct confrontation would be suicidal. Instead, he devised a daring plan. Using the Resolute as bait, he lured the Zarvok fleet into the Maelstrom Rift, a chaotic region of gravitational anomalies. The human ships, adapted for the rift, moved with agility that the Zarvok could not match. Mines detonated in precise sequences, tearing through Zarvok ships. Electronic jamming disrupted their command structure. The flagship was isolated, forced to fight against coordinated human attacks from every angle. Elias led a boarding party personally, relying not on brute strength, but on tactics, speed, and precision. Inside the ship, the boarding team encountered a city of horrors. Zarvok officers had preserved trophies from every massacre, a haunting reminder of their cruelty. Elias' crew moved with purpose. Every officer they captured or neutralized sent a clear signal: humanity would not be broken. The climax: humanity strikes back. Finally, Elias confronted the Zarvok warlord, Vek'rath, the architect of the massacres. The warlord towered over him, claws extended, eyes burning with rage. "You dare enter my ship, human?" Vek'rath hissed. Elias did not flinch. "I don't dare. I act. And you will pay for your crimes." The fight was brutal, but Elias' human ingenuity proved decisive. Using the ship's environment, the graph field generators and precise strikes to Vek'rath's neural nodes, he incapacitated the warlord. As Vek'rath's forces surrendered, Elias activated the ship's transceiver. His voice broadcast across the Zarvok sector. "This is humanity. You have massacred our people, destroyed our worlds, and thought we would beg. We do not beg. We do not surrender. You will face justice, swift, calculated, and unyielding. No more mercy." The message spread quickly, reaching every Zarvok outpost. Panic rippled through their ranks. The galaxy's perception of humans shifted overnight. Once underestimated, humanity was now feared, respected, and undeniably dangerous. The aftermath: a new reputation. The survivors returned to human space as heroes, their victories celebrated across the colonies. Humanity had survived its darkest hour and emerged stronger. Political leaders and military commanders realized that diplomacy alone could not protect their people. Resilience, strategy, and resolve were equally essential. Elias addressed the council once more. "We have won the battle, but the war is not over. Let this be a warning. Humanity does not forgive easily, and we do not forget. We will protect our own, and the galaxy will remember it." Humanity's fleets expanded, prepared to defend their territory with unmatched precision. Systems once ignored or derided by alien empires became fortresses of human ingenuity. Children grew up learning not just to survive, but to innovate, strategize, and lead. Humanity had declared to the universe, "No more mercy for those who threaten us, but compassion and respect for those who earn it." The resolution: humanity's legacy. Years later, Elias walked through the rebuilt capital on New Terra. Monuments honored both the fallen and the courageous. Ships bearing the scars of past battles flew in formation overhead, a testament to survival and growth. A young cadet approached him, wide-eyed. "Sir, will humanity always fight like this?" Elias smiled, amber eyes reflecting distant stars. "We fight to survive, yes, but we fight to ensure our children never see what we saw. We fight not because we are cruel, but because we are human. We endure, we adapt, and we protect. That is who we are." That is who we must always be. And so, humanity's legend spread across the stars. The species that had been massacred, humiliated, and underestimated had declared no more mercy, and the galaxy would never forget. Even in the darkest corners of space, where the Zarvok and other hostile civilizations lingered, whispers of the human resurgence circulated. The name of humanity was no longer associated with weakness. It was synonymous with resilience, ingenuity, and unyielding determination. The massacre had changed everything. But from the ashes of defeat, humanity had forged a future of unmatched power, respect, and survival.